All right, Brian Powell of I Run Far here with YiOu Wang before the 2016 Western States 100. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. It's actually a gorgeous day out here.
It's beautiful. It's less hot than I thought it would be up here.
Yeah, it is. And even if it might get a little toasty on Saturday, it's supposed to start off pretty cool, which should make the early running comfortable.
For the first 10 or so miles.
True. It's going to heat up at some point. And how's the heat been in Marin this spring?
Well, it was actually cold and drizzly until probably 5 days ago. So the spring hasn't really been as hot as I would have liked to get ready for Western States, but I can never complain about living it and training in Marin. So I've been doing a lot of wearing layers, just in the last 2 weeks heading into Saturday, and then also doing more afternoon runs. We've had a few days where it's been in the 80s.
Have you been out on the course at all?
I went out on the course the first 2 days of the training camp. So I've done Forest Hill, Robinson Flat to Forest Hill, and then Forest Hill down to the river.
Was it reasonably hot then, or was it pretty mild?
The first day was actually pretty mild. You know, there was still snow at Robinson, so it started cold. And by the time we got to Forest Hill, it had started to warm up, but wasn't too bad. And the second day was warmer. So I did get a nice experience of running that single track down to the river in some of the exposed sections there.
I think I heard you and Devin may have had a pretty speedy run down to the river.
Yeah, we took it out hard down to the river. Well, it's a good place to kind of open up your legs, and it's all super runnable terrain. So we just took it as an opportunity to kind of push hard and see, you know, feeling like we had that 50K in our legs already, and just to work with the downhill. And it's a good confidence booster heading into the race to know that it is possible to run fast in that section.
It is, and it's really fun when you end up doing that. You just got to feel good at that point.
So that's one of the things that I'm really going to try to focus on Saturday, is to get to Forest Hill with enough legs to really run the last portion of the race. You know, it's going to be twice the farthest I've ever run, which is pretty nerve-wracking and intimidating, but you know, I'm confident in the training that I've put in, and I think that if I am so conservative that I want to kill myself in the beginning of the race, that I'll get to Forest Hill and be able to really push it hard to the finish.
Gotcha. Now, do you have any techniques or any plans on how you're going to hold yourself back?
That's a great question.
Because it's a challenge, like it really is.
Yeah.
In a first 100.
So I will fully admit that I absolutely hate hiking. Even when I did Lake Sonoma, I really had a hard time if I ever felt like hiking in the last couple miles of that course. And so I think one of the keys for me will be actually hiking the uphills in the first portion of the race, because even if I'm running at an effort and it feels easy, it's all going to add up, right? And it's all using up this finite resource of energy in your body that I'm not going to be able to get back. So I think in the first part of the race, I really just want to focus on being as efficient and almost as slow as I can possibly be.
That's good.
You know, talking to some of my friends who've done it, who I run with, like Alex Varner, for example, he told me that it's going to be the slowest race that I've ever done, and in the first part it's going to feel so difficult just to actually hold that effort back.
Now, I mean, has anybody put in perspective, like, for Cal Street, you're not racing way too cool pace. You're not even racing a fast Cal Street. It's not even like Sonoma pace. Like, like if you're just continually running at that point.
I mean, I think it's one of those situations where people can tell you all of these things, but you're not really going to know until you get there, right?
Now, is that exciting at all to have like a totally new experience?
It is exciting. It's tempered by the fact that everyone also says how much it's going to hurt, and
I'm gonna hold that and contradict that, because I don't think it has to hurt. I mean, obviously you're probably a competitive person.
Yeah.
And it's going to hurt at the very end of the race, like pushing any race does, but maybe less intensely because...
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a different level of intensity than I'm used to. It's going to be a lower level of intensity for a much longer period of time. So I'm actually also more concerned with how I'm going to stay in it mentally versus physically. So some of the strategy is that, okay, like there's a whole list of things that I need to be checking off as I'm going through this race in terms of fuel and hydration. So that'll be something to kind of think about and problem solve and keep my mind occupied.
Which is
good. Yeah, it's a good thing because if you think about it, it's no matter how well you do, it's going to be a lot of hours out there and a lot of time on your feet. And a lot of that time you're going to be by yourself for stretches. And so I think not getting mentally fatigued is going to be a major factor for me on Saturday because I'm not very good at not thinking about racing when I'm in a race.
So if you see somebody up there...
it's going to be really hard to not catch them.
But it's really hard to be in sync with somebody for that long. They're going to have strong stretches when you're just okay, and vice versa.
So I think what I learned from Lake Sonoma is that I can be patient, and that an ultra race, it plays out differently than shorter race distances, where if you lose sight of someone, you really do lose sight of them, and it's a different kind of competing and a different kind of racing. So I have done way more shorter distance road races than I've done ultras, and so I've had to kind of relearn how to be a competitive runner in a distance greater than 50K, because I'm used to staying in contact, not letting the elastic snap, because then you just have no chance of catching back up. But in
Which is not the case in 100 miles.
Yeah, there's so much time, so many things can happen. And sometimes if you try to stick with a group and they're running outside of your comfort zone.
At that moment.
Yeah, at the moment, you're going to pay for it, 2 hours later.
And they could be paying for it, right?
Yeah, exactly. They could be paying.
They're writing those checks that they can't pay later on. I mean, you could be 15 minutes behind at Highway 49, 9 miles left, and
make up all that time.
Like that. If something goes wrong with somebody else. So.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to embark on this totally new experience.
Now, did you make any major changes mentally in your approach between, say, North Face 50, where you were a little aggressive and it didn't quite work out, to Lake Sonoma?
I definitely held back a lot more at Lake Sonoma. I focused on being super comfortable in my effort level at the start, and also not chasing people, just running my pace and my effort level, no matter who was behind or in front, and letting people go by me if they wanted to, and just letting them go, and also not chasing people when they do pass me, even if I feel like I have the energy at that moment. I also have worked a lot on my nutrition, because my first ultras, I didn't carry any water bottles, and I think my first 50K, I had maybe 3 gels in the whole race, and I thought I was going to die at the end. And so working on my nutrition, where in Lake Sonoma, I came in with a plan of, every 30 minutes, my watch is going to beep, and that's going to remind me to take electrolytes, and it's going to remind me to take some nutrition, whether it's gels or whatever I want to eat at the aid station.
Gotcha. Did you make that self-realization, or did your fellow Marin residents beat that into your head? Is anybody particularly responsible?
Well, I think fellow Marinites have been trying to beat that in my head for a long time. I think I had to get over my own stubbornness, and then I had to actually force myself to do it, and then realize how much better you can run in the latter part of a race if you do fuel up in the beginning. And also I started working with my coach in January. So I think the biggest factor that's led me to be successful in my races this year is having the more consistency and also the structure of working with a coach, and also having someone to bounce ideas off of and get feedback from, who's invested in how well I do, but also objective in his opinion.
And you have seen quite a bit of the success. You've had a great YiOu Cool. Obviously, you won Lake Sonoma, set a course record at Quicksilver. How's your confidence level coming into this race? And is that
it's confident in the sense that I know I can put together a good race and I can execute a plan, and that what I've been doing so far has worked up through the 50-mile distance. So I know that I've had a good 7 weeks, 8 weeks of training between Lake Sonoma and now, that I feel good physically, I'm healthy, that I've have a plan that's all written out and laminated in a binder. But you still don't know.
Literally laminated in
a binder. This is what I do when I'm tapering and I have too much time on my hands. But as in any ultra, you try to stick with the plan as much as you can, but you also have to be open to dealing with whatever problems come up. So I'm confident that if I execute the way that I want to execute and I stay focused on doing, the fueling and the nutrition and the pacing, and I don't let the racing get to the forefront of my head until, very, very late in the event, I think that I'm ready to have a good day at Western States. My foremost goal, because this is my first 100-miler, first Western States, I want to finish, and I want to feel like I did everything that I could to have a good day. So that's my main goal for Saturday.
Gotcha. And you have a pretty good crew behind you to keep you on the rails?
I do. So I wanted to have people who are experienced with the race itself, so that's where Kim and Topher Gaylord come in. And then I also wanted people who were going to be really calm on the race day. And Emily, right? Have you met Emily Peterson? So her and Andrew, they're both really, really zen.
So to maybe counterbalance?
Yes, because you know how it is. It gets crazy in the aid stations. Crew people go crazy. Racers are going crazy. I'm probably going to be saying the F word every other word when I roll into Forest Hill. So I really needed people who were going to be calm and focused in the middle of this huge whirlwind of craziness and energy. And they're both very positive, very calm, but still energized people, and they can be authoritative when they need to be, and get things done that need to get done. Put goo in my hand or whatever.
Eat this now.
Like, you need to eat now. And then my husband Sean is also going to be out there. He gets a little more nervous during the race, so he's not doing any pacing, nor is he in charge of the crew. He's there for support and to kind of just spectate and cheer, because everybody in Marin knows this. He kind of gets really anxious during the race.
So if you roll into Forest Hill puking and Topher there saying, it's gonna be okay.
Just
have some water and go.
Yeah, the joke is because Andrew is a vet, he's gonna have some tranquilizers in the car just in case.
Your husband?
For Sean, maybe. He gets a little bit worked up.
I see. What are you most excited about for the weekend?
I'm most excited to feed off the energy of the event and the race. I'm excited to actually see the high country part of the course, because I've never run. I've run this part just up to the escarpment and a little bit over on the other side, but I've never seen anything between Robinson Flat and here. So I want to see the high country in the morning when I'm still feeling good.
Such a treat.
And then I want to just experience it. You know, I moved to California 8 years ago, and have heard a lot of stories about Western states and read a lot of stories, seen all the videos, and I just want to experience it.
All right. Well, best of luck and enjoy the experience.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And a bonus question. Speaking of excitement, how excited are you about the discovery of gravitational waves?
Einstein was right! Oh, I was super stoked. Well, actually, you know, this happened a couple of months ago, and we had a whole announcement at our morning meeting at my school where we explained what gravitational waves were and how they were theorized, and then how they were finally proven. And it's a really exciting development in physics because people didn't know whether or not they existed or whether or not they could actually be measured. And actually what really excites me about it is reading about how meticulous the experiment had to be to detect gravitational waves in the first place. And it was just fascinating to me that they could build an apparatus that was so finely tuned. And
so
it's just crazy.
It's not the theory at all. The theory is almost a century old, but it's the precision of measuring the interference of lasers.
It really gives us, it actually gives me hope that we can, you know, discover so much more about the physics of the universe now that we found this thing that everybody thought couldn't be found.
All we need is some more black holes crashing into each other somewhere all out in space.
It's a universe, it's infinite, right?
There's a lot going on out there. All right. So apparently you're pretty excited about gravitational waves.
But right now I'm more excited about Western states.
All right. Thank you.
If you ask me afterwards, I probably won't be able to pronounce gravitational waves.
Maybe I'll just have to have the video camera at the finish. So, those things with the Einstein, what are those? All right.
Einstein bagels? They're bagels, right?
Bagels, yes! Locks for everyone.